So here we have a marble bust of Napoleon by Auguste Rodin. It has been sitting in the corner here of the council chambers at the Hartley Dodge Memorial since 1942. It was originally part of the collection of Geraldine R. Dodge, who of course bequeathed the building to Madison, as well as the art that decorates the council chambers.
And how did, you mentioned this is a Rodin sculpture. How did you find out that it was a Rodin sculpture?
Well, easy enough. It does have a signature. If you want to look over here on the side, it actually has his signature down here. And from there we did, of course, do research, and we had it officially authenticated, which was a really important milestone for us here. We had an expert come in from Paris, and they were able to authenticate it for us, and of course we were able to track down more of the provenance, finding where Geraldine had bought it, at which auction. It had actually been on loan at the Metropolitan Museum of Art from 1915 to 1929, and before that it was owned by a famous American Rodin collector, Thomas Fortune Ryan, and he had it at his home in New York, and he actually purchased it from Rodin directly when he saw it in his studio when he visited Paris in 1908. So I was originally hired here to catalog the artwork that is in the building, as well as the collection of photographs. So I was examining all the pieces, taking photos of them, seeing if there was anything of note. And one of the things I did notice was that there was a very small signature at the bottom here that did say A. Rodin. Now, we didn't have any records about these pieces, and part of me thought that if this was a real Rodin, we would have had some kind of records that would have been passed down, and we didn't. So I looked through everything I could find on Rodin. I never found any mention of a Napoleon. So I was able to contact a few different museums, different scholars, and eventually we were able to get a picture of this piece over to the Comité Rodin in Paris. And they had lost track of the piece since about the 1930s. So they knew of its existence, but they had no idea where it was. And they were very excited to see that we had it here in Madison. From there, they were able to tell us that the last known person who owned it was Thomas Fortune Ryan. So from there, we had another lead, and we were actually, through a friend of Nick Platt's, we were able to track down the auction catalog from Thomas Fortune Ryan's estate. And there we were able to see a picture of the piece with its title, saying when it had been sold, which did correlate with when Geraldine acquired it.
Okay. Now when you say Geraldine, who's Geraldine?
When Geraldine Rockefeller Dodge acquired it, who is the woman who gifted this building, the entire building, to Madison. So
it sounds like this was a piece of hers.
Yes, so this was one of her pieces. Everything in here was from her collection, and she generously decorated the council chambers with her own artwork. She was a great art collector. Her own private collection was auctioned off in the 70s when she passed away, but the artwork here wasn't technically hers anymore. It belonged to the building. So Madison was able to keep it here, which is why we have this lovely piece. So we are very excited to announce that the Philadelphia Museum of Art is taking this piece on loan starting in November. It will be on display in Philadelphia, largely to celebrate the centennial of Rodin's death, which is this year in November.
Okay. Do you know how long it will be on loan?
At least a year.
At least a year, okay.